This is Bob Klaprick. I'm with the support team, and I'm here to talk to you today about the power of using internal variables in a script. So if you take what Simone and Jackie both gave us and kind of add, I'm going to add to that to give you a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can send out in an email using scripts. So in this case, let's say we've got a daily report that we want to send out. And it has maybe an internal list of customers with accounts receivable balances. And in that email, we want to give the end users or the recipients some summary information in the body of the email, such as maybe, well, let's say the accounts receivable balance for the entire company, and maybe the number of customers who owe us money. And then in the subject of the email, we want to put, let's say, the date, just so that the end users have a good reference point as far as what date the report was generated on. And what we might see is something like this. This is a really crude example, but I want to kind of highlight how I get here. So really to get to this point, there's 3 steps. The first step is to define or declare the variables. The second step is to give those variables a value. And then the third is to create an execute command string to run the view, generate the results, and then email those results to end users. So the first step to define the variables, we use a declare function. So I just say declare the variables, and then you can see I've got the variable name, but we're using a variable type of character. And so in this case, we've actually got 3 numeric values, but we're going to treat them as character because that's how they're going to go into the email message. So don't think about where the data is coming from. Think about what you want to do with the data. You want to generate a character string, and you want that string to be, like for the first one, the amount due 12 characters long. So we want a specific length, and we want to make sure that in this case it's a character type. The second step is to give the variables a value. So we're using the change var command, and again, this is all done in the script. So each one of these is in the script. You'll see that in a minute. You can use a calculation for this. I'm using an SQL statement, and again, very simple, just so that you can see how this works. Creating a sum and then a count and then the current date for each one of those. The third step is to create the execute command string. And an easy way to do this, and really I think it's easy to get, the easy part is to get intimidated by the execute command. And you don't need to be, because we've got a wizard in the script designer that allows you to kind of build the command string on the fly without really needing to know what all the parameters are or what they do. If you hit F4 and F9, you'll see a long wizard. And I just gave you a little snippet of for the execute command. It's a huge list of parameters. You don't need to remember all that. You can use it. You can use the wizard and figure it all out. When this is all put together, you might say, well, I know how to do this, and so I can freehand type that stuff in, and maybe you want to do that, but you can always come back to the wizard if you want to check your results or learn new parameters. So Cheryl, on the next slide, yep, we've got the execute command string here, and you can see that just like Jackie did, I'm using a double ampersand on the variables so that SQL replaces that variable with the actual value, and then I've got an ampersand n, and that's basically a carriage. It's an invisible character for a carriage return, so I can build a couple of spaces in between those 2 pieces of summary information in the email message, and then I've got my the date in the subject of the email. So when this is all put together, here's what the script would look like, and from here you can run it. If there's a problem, and especially when you're first creating one of these, this is a great place to be troubleshooting it, because in the message pane down below, instead of seeing that the script completed successfully, you'll actually see the error message and you'll be able to troubleshoot it better. And again, you can always go back to that wizard. So if you find yourself, maybe you type something in wrong, you're not really sure what it is, hit F4 on that line, and you can always go back to that wizard to double check it and see what you did wrong. So it makes it very easy. Just as kind of a review, this is kind of all the things that we just did were to create this type of email message here.